Characters have usually been a highlight in most games in the series. If all else fails, you can come away from an Assassin's Creed game with fond memories of the memorable characters for better or worse. So in this video, I would like to specifically look at the underappreciated casts of these games, the characters that help elevate the main protagonist to iconic status. So, in this ranking, I will not be including the protagonist themselves, only the rest of the cast and their impact on the protagonist. I was originally going to rank all the mainline Assassin's Creed casts in one video, but I thought it might work better for this subject to do it in two parts. So if you're wondering why your favourite cast in the series is missing, it's because it will feature in part 2, for the worst casts in the Assassin's Creed series video, which will hopefully come out sometime in the next few weeks after this first part. So without further ado, let's begin. Spoiler warning for each game when they appear. Assassin's Creed Valhalla is a game that has become one of the most hated in the series, and I can see why. I think the bulk of the criticism is directed towards the gameplay and the pretty barren open world that requires well over 60 hours just to complete the main story. However, when it comes to the characters, most fulfill their roles well. I think Valhalla does a great job of establishing their cast, but they can get stuck and barely or never evolve, and considering this game setting takes place over a decade of time, I would have liked to have seen more development. The characters also can have quite fleeting appearances throughout the game, mainly popping up in one arc, then not appearing again until the epilogue, if that even. But I guess let's look at the core of this cast. Sigurd, Randvi, Basim, Hytham, Eivor make the most frequent appearances in the game. So what's their impact on Eivor? Randvi is a strong friend or lover that Eivor can seek counsel from throughout the game. Basim is an ally for most of the game and ends up becoming one of the main antagonists as the reincarnated Loki. Basim and Eivor have a few discussions about the world, which opens up Eivor to different ways people live their lives. Sigurd is the brother Eivor grows with over the course of the game. Eivor's horrific cruelty helps sever Odin from Eivor, so they are no longer fully aligned. The character that had the greatest impact on Eivor as a character was Odin, the figure that would pop up over the course of the game. Their different views would eventually clash, as Eivor would stop listening to the other soul in her body. Eivor is shaped by her time in England. She finally realizes the Viking way of life is not for her. Well, at least in the base game, since she ends up going on a bunch of other Viking adventures in the DLCs, events, and extra content added to the game over the years. But the reason she did drop her axe to escape Valhalla was due to the people she met in her adventures since leaving Norway. If it's the friends native to England, or Hytham that originated in lands far away, she realised there were different belief systems and ways to live due to the cast of Valhalla. Changing her worldview led to her dropping the Viking way of life, for a couple of days at least, till she raided some shit with the boys. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood is a game, yes. In the present day and in the Animus, most of the cast make another appearance from AC2. In the modern day, the team bounce off each other so well, their chemistry creates the best modern day segments of the series. However, the cast of the past is not as strong, missing some key faces from Assassin's Creed 2, and the lack of development does hold this cast from finishing higher in this video. And yes, I am being harsh since Ezio's mother started yapping again, which is significant from the woman who did not speak for over 20 years. There was still some great characters that crossed over from Assassin's Creed 2, but just no longer providing the whole package. For example, Leonardo's screen time and impact is significantly reduced. The Templar faction might be the most memorable in the series in terms of aura, but lacks substance. Cesare, the young stud on campus, was certainly a performance that left fans imagining hearing that voice in later games. Maybe it's because Andreas Purges, the voice actor of Cesare, returns in multiple Assassin's Creed games and only has one vocal range.
Your entire family dies by my sword!
The Adrestia is yours!
I know you're there, Ezio!
The Pope told me about you and your little group of assassins. And this!
The Templars are mainly caricatures that don't make Ezio question anything. Ezio does develop as a character due to the poor treatment of Roma's populace, changing Ezio from ruthless assassin to a mentor and savior of the people, to teach ideals that will outlast him. Overall, this cast of characters does the job in facilitating Ezio's development, but just not as much as the casts I'm ranking above this one. MVP of this game, even if he is a dumb whiny pantomime villain, bro had aura, so congratulations to Cesare. Assassin's Creed Revelations has a smaller cast of characters, especially following on from Assassin's Creed 2 and Brotherhood. I guess the writer Darby McDevitt knew the fans were playing the game for the protagonists and wanted more focus spent on them. This meant each character of the cast had to be extremely effective to elevate the three protagonists' performances. So if it's the tragedy of Altair's story being elevated by Maria, Darim, and Abbas, or Ezio's final outing, Solomon being the young mind Ezio fights for, Sophia acting as the wholesome shorty, giving Ezio the hope that there is a life for him after the Brotherhood, and Yusuf being Yusuf, the young mentor there to help reinvigorate the old decrepit, senile Ezio, each helping Ezio on his journey and allowing him to reach his final form.
Daddy Auditore.
Clay Kaczmarek was also a welcome addition to the cast, as bonkers as the lad could be. He gave Desmond someone to interact with. The targets in this game had some decent discussions with Ezio, however these discussions mainly showed how jaded Ezio was with the Assassin-Templar conflict, as he did not really take part and just allowed the other characters to yap. The MVP of this game comes in two parts, you see, Yusuf and Abbas. Assassin's Creed 2 is my favourite game in the entire series. Even though the game barely questions the morality of either faction, in this game, which was a downgrade compared to the discussions in Assassin's Creed 1, and overall the intelligence levels plummets in this game. So I guess that's why it's perfect for me. There is no denying the cast of characters and how memorable they are for most fans of this series. Of course, Ezio is considered the best protagonist in the entire series, but this is about the rest of the cast and how they enhance the protagonist, and not about the protagonists themselves. So I guess no better starting place than Ezio's family. No, not the song that has been milked till the others fall off in multiple sequel games that don't feature Ezio, but Ezio's actual family. In the introduction of Assassin's Creed 2, the family helps show the different sides of Ezio. As a character, the older brother cut from the same cloth as him, both being adventurous and rowdy, not just with the many women they take to bed. The sister that brings out Ezio's protective side, the younger brother that brings out the innocent side of Ezio, the understanding father that has seen it all before, and the mother that roasts Ezio till he sees how absurd his hobbies are.
I meant besides vaginas.
Mother.
We then have the multiple mentors to Ezio, helping shape his outlook on his quest against the Templars. Mario teaching him to show some respect, especially if Jose Mourinho is in the room.
Respect, man, respect.
Antonio showing the importance of their work and the impact they have on the people of Italia. Paola, Theodora, and Rosa, pushing Ezio to the limit of avoiding pulling his pantaloons down. Assassin's Creed 2 has a great cast of characters. It would have been nice to see Ezio challenged a little more in terms of his beliefs, but overall, a proper solid cast. MVP, of course, the homie Leonardo da Vinci. The cast of Assassin's Creed 3 shows different sides of Connor. Some bring the best out of him, others
give me Lee his knees to suck my.
Each part of the cast brings a distinct performance out of Connor. His interactions with members of his village bring clarity and allow him to express his thoughts clearly. The Homestead cast of course bring out wholesome Connor, which was a welcome addition. The Peg Leg and Naval missions offer Connor an adventure, finally getting to explore the world. after being confined to a portion of the frontier for the bulk of his early life. And then the missions that do Connor dirty. Why, Corey May, would you write the Templars as so articulate and reduce Connor to dialogue such as,
Seems your tongue is tasted sour grape spell.
These exchanges with the Templars cause Connor to reflect and question his beliefs, but they also reinforce his conviction for his cause. The person that makes Connor question himself the most in the game is his father, the MVP, Haytham Kenway. Haytham is a great supporting character, challenging Connor and making him question his beliefs. He is also a charismatic psychopath, so what is there not to love?
Come now.
Assassin's Creed 3's cast challenges Connor on all fronts, and despite what many believe, he does grow as a character, just not in the traditional way we would expect for a character in this series. His worldview barely changes, but the methods to attain his dream of freedom do. Even if it's just for the outcasts of North America, I'm sure many would feel accomplished with that achievement alone. This would not be possible if not for the diverse cast of characters in Assassin's Creed 3 that help shape Connor and give him different worldviews to comprehend and decide even after all the betrayal, there are still people worth fighting for. The cast of characters for Assassin's Creed 1 is the smallest in the series, but quality over quantity I guess, and Assassin's Creed 1 knows how to use its chode of a cast to the fullest extent. Altair is being shaped by the characters around him throughout the game after he has been humbled. At the start of the game, he was arrogant enough just to block out all the chatter, so the cast of enemies and allies help enlighten Altair and make him more aware on what's actually going on during the events of the game, changing what he believes in and what he would go on to fight for the remainder of his life. Altair, like the Brotherhood, believed peace was the main objective. Slowly this idea dissolved, due to the characters he interacts with. Garnier de Naplous's human experiments showed that peace was not enough for humanity to flourish. Sapping them of their spirit and cordoning them off from civilization showed the most important thing to a human's existence is not peace. We see the havoc these patients cause when they are released after Garnier's death, which leads to further confusion and shows how nuanced each situation can be, and not all can just be solved with a hidden blade. Altair realized peace was only ever attainable through methods of enslavement, with pieces of Eden or without. Masyaf would have remained peaceful if Altair, Malik, and the few other assassins that were not under Al-Malim's control did not intervene. We see what the embodiment of peace looks like when Altair makes his way inside Masyaf Castle. Hundreds of people breathing but lifeless. Through their lack of freedom, their humanity has been sapped. Only husks remain that will not cause a problem for their master, never to disturb the peace. To fight for peace is to see humanity dulled beyond reason. To fight for freedom is to allow humanity to flourish, even if there is mistakes and a little chaos along the way. Altair would never have reached this outlook by the end of the game without the cast of characters he interacted with, which makes this cast an effective one even if not the most memorable in the series. The cast during the modern day also do an effective job of transforming Desmond as a character, turning him from a doubter to believer. It's a small cast but extremely efficient, with just a handful of characters, well written dialogue and the eerie presentation of the facility make Abstergo the most menacing they have ever been in the series. MVP for Assassin's Creed 1, Warren Vidic for making Abstergo a menacing force in this installment. Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag has the greatest cast of characters in the entire series. Let me explain for those more skeptical viewers. The characters should be their own entities, have patterns of behaviour unique to them, but more importantly, what impact do they have on the protagonist? How do they enhance Edward Kenway as a character? When you have an all-rounded cast ready to challenge the protagonist on all fronts, you can create a masterpiece. Templars are the tamest collective to shape Edward, only challenging him in physical obstacles to overcome, and then just carry on with his life. They are the trophies of Edward's growth. It's what the trophy represents, rather than the trophy itself, that matters. So the characters that transform Edward as a character the most are those closer to home. his allies. Blackbeard is the man who's done it all, whose hubris was his downfall, the embodiment of the golden age of piracy and its end. Blackbeard's life is a warning to Edward of how his life could end up if he is a pirate for too long. Roberts brings out the selfish side of Edward, goading him to descend to levels of greed that would be irredeemable in the eyes of most. Adewale and Atabai, the guides of morality in this game. And Bonnie, the friend who's also been through a lot. Together they can be each other's support to get back to their feet. Caroline, the reminder of Edward's insecurities and his failures as a man, only to be replaced by their daughter, Jennifer Scott, never allowing those insecurities and long regrets to fade. Mary Read, the mentor, the conscience, the older sister Edward never got to have back home. Mary Read is the heart of the game, always seeing the potential in Edward, always believing he could do some good with his talents. Mary Read is the greatest supporting character in the entire series. She might not be your favourite, she might not have the lines and acts as memorable as others, but she objectively fulfilled her supporting character role to its fullest potential, and Edward Kenway would not be the great protagonist he is without her. So for that, she is the ultimate MVP for this video. Black Flag has a masterful cast of characters, one of the best in gaming in terms of their effectiveness and how they touch many of us in the feels. There is many reasons to love the parting glass scene. It's the result of the journey Edward has been on, both externally and internally. There is the exciting and daunting future as a father awaiting Edward at the end of the path. But before then, let's remember the cast who made this journey, this story, one to remember.
Alas, it was to none but me.
Thank you for watching this far. Be sure to let me know who your favourite supporting characters and cast of the series are in the comments down below. Give me a like and subscribe to support the channel. Turn on those notifications for part 2, the worst casts of the Assassin's Creed series. And I'll catch you all next time.